Hello, friends and professor. I'm Ryan Welshans. I'm the lead pastor here at Crossbridge Church of the Nazarene in Mundelein, Illinois, in the Chicagoland area, just about north of Chicago, about an hour. Super excited to be here. This class looks really awesome, and I've enjoyed learning just the content we're supposed to be learning even this week. So I'm super psyched about it. So I have been in my current assignment now for going on 4.5 years, almost 5 years in April. I was originally called here as the associate pastor, and a couple of years into that, the pastor who hired me was feeling a nudge that it was his time to move on to a new call. And the board approached me and asked me about taking the call here to be the senior pastor. Which we were super excited about. We prayed about it and discerned that we felt like God was leading us in that direction. Previously to that, I ministered in Lakeland, Florida, my hometown. I grew up in Lakeland, Florida, basically my whole life, but I was associate pastor and youth pastor at Lake Gibson Church of the Nazarene. Prior to that, I was actually in the Presbyterian Church, and they were going in a direction that wasn't super healthy with me, and I was feeling really theologically torn with predestination and kind of a Calvinist bent towards things. And thankfully, through a friend who was a Nazarene pastor, I ended up taking his role as the youth pastor, and in the process of that, fell in love with Wesleyan theology and was embraced by the Nazarene Church. And that's been almost 10 years now since that happened, and that was one of the greatest gifts in my life, was becoming a part of the Nazarene Church. Our theology is so solid, and I love our church and our connectedness, and I love being a part of this Chicago Central District here. It's just a real blessing to me. But I'm married. I have been married to my wife for 15 years. We met in high school and got married a few years after graduating high school, and she's a blessing to me. We have 4 kids: Jacob, Noah, Avery, and Asher. Jacob's a ninth grader, Noah's a seventh grader, Avery's a fourth grader, and Asher is a second grader. So our life is busy and crazy, but awesome, and I'm incredibly blessed. Things that I love people. I love movies. I love art and movies and filmmaking. I thought I was going to end up being Steven Spielberg one day, like going off to Hollywood. I did a lot of films and TV production stuff growing up, but God had me trade my love of telling my stories and the stories I wanted to tell, to telling his story to God's people and to those who would find themselves in it. So that's a really cool thing. I tell people all the time, I went from wanting to hold an Oscar to holding people's hands in the hospital. And that shift happened pretty quickly in my life when I was a young guy, but I really am so thankful that God gave me that heart for the church and a heart for the lost and a heart for people on their journey of faith. And so I love walking alongside people in their faith. I love art and movies, and I actually came to Christ while watching and asking questions that a movie called Schindler's List actually kind of sparked in me. And so if you want to hear more about that story, I'd love to tell you offline sometime. But yeah, I love to do that with my family. We like to rest and like to hang out. We like to explore the Chicagoland area and just spend time together. My family of origin, I'm adopted. And so I was born in Lakeland, Florida, but I was actually adopted to a family and 6 months of 6 weeks of age. My birth grandfather was a racist, and I am biracial. And so my birth mother gave me up for adoption because she knew that I was going to be raised in a family where I would not be accepted. My biological grandfather was actually the leader of the local KKK in Gary, Indiana at the time, which is now just a little bit of ways near me, actually. But they ended up moving to Florida, and then I was born, and then she put me for adoption pretty soon after I was born. And adoption has been a huge theme in my life. Not only was I adopted as a baby, but I felt like the church in high school, when I became a part of this really small elderly church that just loved on me and took me in, they adopted me and they taught me what it meant to be the church. And since then, I've really just had a stirring and a love for God's people and the church. And I'm just so excited to be a pastor. I love being a pastor. It's a great call, and I'm excited to be a part of this class. Yeah, can't wait to be on the journey with you, friends. Blessings.